Greetings and hello. I'm David Roberts. I'm out at Sparkleberry Farm and I am Executive Director of Restoration House Ministries. And most importantly, the biggest thing I've had going on for some time, the biggest bridge I've built um, is yourquantumlife.com. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And it is exciting. And I woke up with a fresh perspective and I wanted to just put this out there because not really for anyone else, but for me. I needed to get this on paper or on video. I needed to just document it that this is what I'm sensing, this is what I'm feeling, and it's revolutionary what I'm about to say. Hope you'll stick around. I try to be as concise as possible. So here's the deal. Woke up with the idea that my desire to build yourquantumlife.com, the platform, the digital platform, and all that entails is selfish. Now, not the context of selfish that you might read in Merriam-Webster, but if you'll allow me a little liberty to use that word selfish in the context of the way that God sent his son, Jesus, it was not really anything but selfish in the context that I'm about to explain. He needed to create an opening and a portal where we could see as men and women, as we could see as humans, the oneness with God that he already sees us by the Spirit. The scales on our eyes cause us not to be able to see what he already knows to be true. So we might find times when Jesus would say things like, I can only do what I see my Father doing. Now, that's from the human Jesus talking. But later on, Paul over here, and we can find other similar type writings, Paul says, I no longer regard one another after the flesh. I no longer, we no longer even regard Christ after the flesh. So I can do nothing when he says, I can do nothing except when my Father does it. Speaking from the earthly perspective, Paul is speaking from a heavenly perspective that of the awareness by which the keys that were given us when Jesus went, descended, and ascended. I need you to catch this. It's very important. Most of our preaching and most of the teachers are always constantly trying to get someone to go in, always constantly keeping them isolated from the reality of the actual kingdom of God, which we were supposed to be training them up to live in the first place. And that is a problem. That's a problem because it won't make it through the fire, the tests. And there will be tests, there will be shaking. We all know that. So Paul and many others, Jesus said, speaking to his disciples, have I been with you this long and you still don't understand? So Peter denies 3 times, denies being a follower of Jesus. He has a wake-up call. The rooster crows early morning. He has a wake-up call. It's a new day. It's a new, wow. He's thinking, oh my, we have missed it. Okay, he's starting to get it. Okay, that's where the portal opens. The portal opens, and is where kind of I'm talking from. So it's a selfish desire. I'm sorry, it's not really in the context of lower man for you. It's the context of like a waiter serving the kingdom of God to you. And it's not to you, but it's also from you. I've got two or three little things I want to kind of tie and weave in together right here, right fast. And I don't want to be long because I want you to get this. This is really, really important. At least it's important to me, and I need to document it so that I know that this is real. And it doesn't make it more real because I made a film out of it. I made a little video out of it. But I forget this stuff too. It's so deep in me, I don't forget it. But uh, if I can get this uh, connection, if I can have clarity of mind and say it now, and this is what I woke up with. I woke up with clarity and a fresh perspective that I haven't had before, and I wanted to share that with you. And it's the motivation and the driving force that is that causes me to create yourquantumlife.com. Now, I sit under the leadership and authority of Mark Hanby, an apostle that is in the earth, and several of us have connected to this powerful voice. I want you to hear what we're saying. So we really created this together because I know what's in my Father's heart. I can live that out, but that's not just in a man's heart. That's in the spirit. That's in God's heart in heaven. So if that were ever out of alignment, uh, I'm going with God's heart. And that is exactly the way that Paul was saying that we no longer regard each other after the flesh. We all have struggles. We all have issues in life. We all have stuff going on. We've had adversarial problems and technological issues along the way, trying to figure out how to make these things happen. What things would I be talking about? It's connecting to you. That's my world. It's you because I love you. I love my family. I love the world. And I am tired, and I will not participate in the building of a man's kingdom that isolates one from another in that kind of context. Now, if you need to build a building that's got heat and air conditioning, you want to separate it from the environment, that's fine. I'll probably go down there and help you build it. Might even chip in a little money if I had it. But for over 10 years, I've given my life to this. Now, I'm talking about as a full-time thing, an unpaid volunteer position. And when I say full-time, I don't mean just a few hours here and there. I mean, it's my life. I don't have in my mind to return to a geographic location where you and I go sit down in a certain place. That's not the kind of connection I'm talking about. I'm talking about the connection that Jesus was saying, that we would actually have the oneness that Paul was saying, that we would no longer regard one another after the flesh. I'm so passionate about that. I bought a farm, Sparkleberry Farm. I bought 40 plus acres on out in Wellington, Alabama at sparkleberryfarm.com. And probably need to update the website on that. We're so passionate about that. We built the guest house, which you're seeing first, and we're building our main house later. I don't have, I'm just walking by faith. I'm just walking because my overriding driving force is love. It's love for you. And it's a very selfish thing because it's what I want. And that's what God wanted when he created the world. And he gave us each a body, an opportunity to buy into that kind of oneness with him. Now it's a whole rejection. It's a total rejection of everything that man wants to do, like stack playing cards, all the aces back together, or all the spades back together, or all this and that. I could probably come up with other examples, but all I know is the times that I want to connect with, and I still do, leaders, elders in our communities, both locally and whoever else is out there, not to lead you, but just to cohabitate and share with you this space and we can impart one to another. Uh, I've been to a bunch of different types of pastoral or leadership meetings where I'm an outcast because I don't come with a plan to preserve that organization. I don't see it that way. I'm sorry. I'll never see it that way. I believe we should have a fire sale. I don't think we should burn the building down, but I think we should have a fire sale. I think we should daily present everything we've done up to God. Say, God, is this? Do you want me to continue doing this? Because I'm ready to make a hard left. I'm ready to make a hard right. I'm ready to live in a cardboard box. God, if that's where I need to be, by love, and whatever it is, you can author your own life. You can author one with Him, or you can author one that is on your own. And that, God doesn't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. But if you expect us to be, speaking of God and speaking of me, for everything you're for, and you're not for everything I'm for. I'm for Alabama, Roll Tide. You might be for Auburn, or you might be for Missouri, or whoever. I don't know. We have to coexist. And that is the beauty of no longer judging each other simply after the flesh. Now, that doesn't free you of consequences of your life. If you jump off a building that's 3 stories and you don't have wings and gravity to supersede aerodynamics to supersede gravity, you're going to go splat. You're going to probably have the consequences, but you're free to do that. I would discourage it highly, but that's what I'm about. Thank you for all the thanks, and I want you to keep telling me thanks if you want to. It's But as the creator of a child, this is actually a birthing of a ministry, and I've had a part of a lot of that type of thing. People through the years have told me their visions, and of God's given me an ability to help flesh out some of those things, and it's not David. It's just the perspective of helping put that in order. Um, I don't want to make this about me, David. I want this to be about now. I mean, I know that I'm a willing participant, and that's a part of it, and just like you are, and that's a big part of it. And we acknowledge that one and another. We get to know those who labor amongst us. That's all part of it. And we don't invite thieves necessarily to spend the night at our house, that kind of stuff. Uh, but when it comes to uh, the banquet table of God, if a thief were in your house, I'm reminded of the story in Les Mis where the key character went into the friar's house, the pastor, and he's leaving. He's just getting out of prison. He had a rough time. If you ever saw Les Mis, this will make sense to you. So he steals these candlesticks and all these other things that are very expensive. So he's supposed to be reporting to a parole officer of we may call it in America. So to check in, and he only has so much time. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. So he leaves, and he's caught. He's brought back to the authorities, to the friar, early in the morning. And the friar says, and they ask him, "Is we caught this man stealing your goods, and is this is your stuff, right? We thought it was. So this is your man." He says, "Oh, you forgot the candlesticks. If they take it from you, if your goal is to build up a fortress, if your goal is to have revenue streams and money and all these different things, oh, it'll be revealed right away. But if your goal is to restore that man, if your goal is to put him in his authority, let him see what the scales of life have blinded him from seeing, it'll be revealed too." And that's what I hope that we're walking out right now. That in Sparkleberry Farm, with our bridge that God provided across our creek as we develop our property for you and other visitors to come by, yourquantumlife.com as part of our ministry. that is throwing the net out to the world. We're, in a sense, we're bypassing the pulpit because you know what? Generally speaking, most times we're not hearing the message of God's love really in a context that uh, is what our portion might be saying. It does not mean that what they're saying is wrong. We're not combating that. We just recognize and realize that there's a lot of people who've been burned out and who've been hurt. And I can identify with this being rejected, being like, you're not going to be accepted here, David. And they may have told you that in by words and actions, but maybe not words, but actions. They've not included you in. But I promise you this: God has included you, and I have included you. We have included you in our plans for yourquantumlife.com. I want you to join us if you want to. I want it's your call. You know, we're not going to ask you for any money. You're not going to be asked to subscribe in the context of money. You may subscribe as in like signing on and having an account and like a digital account. So we can, if you're chatting in one of the digital chat spaces, you don't have to chat. You can just kind of peruse and look around. Just ground floor. We're just in soft launch right now. We're going to be officially, we're putting out a good deal of media that had a new podcast, and who knows, it might be you that sits in with one of our voices. It, this is revolutionary. This is built with a connecting point with you in mind. We're not we're not trying to build an organization or a system. We love you, and my whole motivation is kind of selfish. Let me use that in the context, a little different context. You might have a better word for it. It's uh it's speaking not from the earth, selfish. It's speaking from heavens because I see you even though you don't see you. I see you past your sin. I see you past your pain. I see you past where you want to be. I see you past all the desires to be noticed. I see you past trying to be relevant. I see you past all your loneliness. I see you past that. I see you, and I don't even hardly know you. Don't you want to taste that? This is the kind of love that God gave me. This is the kind of love that when I fell over, literally, I'm a young adult. I moved back into my parents' home. I'm sitting on the bed. I'm just broken. My hands, my face is in my hands. Instead of falling right on my pillow, I fall left. He catches me. He catches me and holds me, puts his arm out like this, David, it's going to be okay. Through these following after that, these few years were it was just the pain that brought me into that, the depths of desperation where I had tried everything and it was like grains of sand falling through my hands, that there was nothing left. There was nothing I could do. I didn't want to commit suicide because I did all I knew was that I had no answers and I was out of wit. I had plenty of wit and I was a great salesperson. I was sought after for motivational speaking. I went to one event one time and they asked me to go travel with them as a motivational speaker. And I went, had an early job as a general contractor for a lot of years, for several years, but which was my main kind of mindset and thing, putting things together and all coordination, a lot of moving parts, seeing how they fit. Um, and because I guess it's because it's just like looking from above. You're looking at a puzzle pieces. I don't know, and maybe I thought everybody could do that. Maybe everybody can't, but but I know that whatever it is that through God's eyes and His mindset, you have a very special gift and you have a very special ability. So all these different things that I was facing back then, they were. Uh, relevant to now. They're very relevant to now because when I came out, I was expecting, you know, okay, I'm looking around and I'm supposed to blend in and be, one of these, and I'm let down constantly. I try to be around other ministers. I try to be, they're wordsmiths. They're leaders in a way that the world knows they're leaders. Well, like I said, and I'm having to be transformed by the renewing of my mind. I'm still got this idea, even though I've had deep major surgery. I've still got to walk this out. I've still got to figure out not my mind, but by his. He's got to teach me. So I gotta go through it. So I'm trying to figure out. Golly, the context there is I'm trying to not figure it out really, and he's trying to impart to me so I can walk in my purpose and destiny. Well, the pain of not being accepted in this human form revealed my purpose. He showed me. I remember when he said, David, you're not only called, because I kept hearing that. I've called you for this. I've called you for that. I've called you for this. I've called you for that. And then I heard, I choose you. And he said, this is what I choose you for. And it was to be weird. It was just to be awkward. It was to carry his greatness. Now, I'm not great. I'm David. And none of us could say we're great. But I promise you, every one of us has that treasure hidden in us. And I'm just saying it out loud. And it's not a boastful thing to say it out loud. It may sound like it, but I'm driving a stinking school bus just so I'm not lonely. Hadn't had a salary in over 10 years, so I'm not looking for a salary. God's got us. So the little bit of money they're paying us for a salary isn't going to amount to anything really. But God's got us. I'm not trying to raise money. I mean, seriously, God's got this. I There is not a thing that God has not taken into account. How to pay for your quantum life is a great example. Our YouTube account. We've got some people who want to focus in on how we're going to pay for it and stuff like that. Well, we are just about already on the Dr. Mark Hamby YouTube account, ready to be monetizing. And, we can be aware of that and say, oh, that's great. So there's enough subscribers and there's plenty of viewing time and so on and so forth. But here's the thing. So you're driving down the road, and this is one of the most dangerous things. You could be either texting and driving and you're not paying attention to the road, or you could be driving past a car crash. And you know what one of the main places that people have car crashes is? Next to other car crashes, where there's been a car crash on the side. And let me tell you why. When you drive past, you're just paying attention to driving, you're enjoying yourself, you're taking it all in, and everything's great. Well, all of a sudden, it's intense time. Here it goes. It's crunch time, pressure's on. We're crunch time, we're launching your quantum life. Everybody, hands on deck, and everybody thinks they need to put inside. No, you need to hear the Creator speak. You need to let the voice of God in the room and here's the problem. It's not a problem that everybody's unique and have something to offer. But here's the thing. If we change our scope and our vision toward looking at that crash on how we're going to pay for it, look what that steering wheel's going to do. It's going to drift off over there. What if that crash is over here? Most crashes happen at the scene of other crashes because of rubbernecking. Their head turns. It just so happens that God set it up, and there will be monetization, that we will never have to ask you for money. It will, and if it's not your YouTube, it'll be something else. I'm not worried about it, or somehow or another, I'll pay for it. I don't. This is my desire is to build bridges to you because that is what I want. That's what I choose for my life. That's what I choose for me. It's because I love you. And a lot of you I don't even know, and I can say that. I'll lay my life down and do that. So that's what I got for you today. Welcome to my world. It's built with you in mind. I love you. I want to say go to sparkleberryfarm.com, and that is true. Uh, I want to update our property here and make it more natural at our little venue space and make it available for the community. Just yesterday, we had a group of men. They came and logged our property this past year, and a couple of three times now they've said, "Hey, can we come and fish and stuff in your creek. It's a whole crew of guys. I don't know how many guys it was. It seemed like it was 6 or 8, probably more the first time. But I saw cars. I said yes to the owner of the. I said, Brad, sure. Nothing would give us greater joy than to share. What you will not find at Sparkleberry Farm, we have gates out at the road, and they're open. You won't find no trespassing sign on our gates. Do we want people encroaching and crossing over the property and threatening this and that our property? And are we going to be good stewards of it? We're going to be good stewards of it, yes. But do we have to do it in a way that is uninviting? What's on our heart is to invite you. Now everybody can't come at the same time, so we'll have some sort of schedule as we develop. And we've got a pavilion we want to build down by the creek. It's a beautiful spot, and maybe even host some weddings or other events, and that would be great. This is a guest house I think I mentioned earlier, um, and I built this. But your quantum life is the very same thing. It's nothing different. It's just a digital way of doing that. It's a digital platform, yourquantumlife.com, that was built with you in mind because we belong together. And and especially if you're a spiritual leader, if you are in the leadership area, or if you're a leaver, if you've been uh, if you've left that frustrated, or if you just flat out off track and you've never heard anybody talk this way and you just want to see what it's about, yourquantumlife.com. All right, guess I better sign off. Love you all. Talk to you soon, I hope. I think I may do this from time to time, but this time I had something I woke up with. I need to get it out there. Love you. Bye.